It's that weird time, as I always talk about, which is when nobody is here. But yet, when you watch the recording, when it's done, it's like the first thing you see, which makes it, well, weird for everybody right now. Actually, let me see what I can get on here. Let's see if I get the comment window. See if that works. Sweet. Yeah, I'd go a little live today, a little later than I usually do, like 11 or 12. It's a shout out to my West Coast and in North America. Well, I guess Canada and US, and then it kind of just tapers down. So Western time zones in North America, hello, on your lunch, and good mid-afternoon to East Coast. And then nighttime in overseas to the east. Be great. To crop an overlay, drag from an edge. Oh, I can crop it? That's neat. Look at that. I can really... They just brought a little update out, so I had to try it out. Thank you for being my guinea pig there, Greg. All right. I need to stop this music. I am, speaking of music, I am rocking the Dine Alone Records Raptors, but also reminds me of the Puck character that we used to look at at least in Canada. There's a cartoon, an animated character. That was a Pete the Puck? Does anybody know? Does anybody remember that? I'm going to look this up. You're all going to hang out with me while I look this up. It was Peter Puck. Yes. It was Peter Puck. Hang on. I'm going to see if I can... There it is. Peter Puck. Right? Doesn't it? It's pretty close, right? Yeah, that's pretty close, right? There we go. I figured it out. Quan, how you doing? We got it, Greg. So yeah, what is today? Thursday? March 10th? Cool. Headed out to do a gig next week. First one I'm heading out for, and been on a plane since October. It'd be good to do some talking, I think. So I'll turn this off here. So as a lot of people don't know, or some do and some don't, or it doesn't really matter, nobody cares. But I went to college for HR. I was pretty fortunate, kind of in high school and stuff, to figure out kind of what angle and where I wanted to go in the corporate world, which was HR. I looked into it and it was like, this is, you do the hiring, you do the firing, you do the training. And I knew I was going to do, like, training was going to be my thing. I just knew I had the ability and what I thought at the time was talent to sit and stand in front of a room and talk. But I also loved HR because I loved, doing what's right and, standing up for the employees. And I always told HR was about attracting and retaining, good people. It was, didn't always go that way, but, speaking of school, I'm going to read this right out, so I'll just make this all fancy. First saw your company and brand when I was in Sheridan studying marketing, and UnMarketing really changed my mind about marketing. If you saw yesterday, I was wearing my Sheridan hoodie I took HR in college at Sheridan, and then I taught at Sheridan for 7 years, HR topics, and then business communication and presentations and things like that. And I went into HR, and it was like so many things threw me. And I learned very quickly that HR wasn't necessarily there. At the end of the day, HR's purpose when it came from leadership, and this is not the job I had, but my job and others, was that your job was to do what you're told, and your job is protecting the company, not the employees. And HR has been in this weird spot forever. I remember 20-something years ago when I first went into it, one of the challenges for HR was getting invited to the seat of the executive table. And, you'd have the VP, there's the CMO, the CEO, the COO, and the CFO, and then the CTO. But not a lot of times was there that the C-suite included a C-suite for HR. HR, formerly called personnel, referred to a lot of times as overhead, head count, all those type of things. And so when I was in there, you realize you can be very deflated very quickly. And now I'm looking now, and we still have a lot of the same issues in HR, but also we still are doing the same things that don't work because either we're told to, or that's what we've always done, or whatever it is. And we're in a time now, more than ever. What really upsets me, among many things that upset me, is the fact that a lot of the times the right thing to do, and I don't mean the right thing necessarily as a utopian type of the right thing to do, but also it is the right thing to do for people, for companies, for humanity, is also the right things to do for business. It's just longer term. And as the years have gone on, we get this more and more thing of focusing on this quarterly type of thing and these very short-term results. And we were measuring in very short term versus longer term. And the fact hasn't changed. When I was in school in the mid-90s, about HR and about hiring and about interviewing, about all these things, and retention and employee, perks and benefits, and how do you reward employees, and how do you do this, blah, 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 blah. It's almost never really changed. They want to feel valued. They want to feel like they are part of the value. They want to be paid fairly, according to them, not you. And a lot of times they just want to do their job. Less pop-ins, less meetings, less microaggressions, less all these things, which a lot of this stuff gets answered by allowing employees to have a choice whether or not they want to work from home or not. Because don't get it wrong here. Don't get it all twisted up. People haven't been working from home for the past 2 years, depending on where you are and your situation and your numbers. People have been trying to be productive during a pandemic, which happens to take place in their homes. Do you understand the quality of life you can give the people that work for you if they're allowed to have a choice of where they work from as we come out of this? If your numbers on productivity, not vanity numbers or anything, on productivity, if your numbers show that they are at or above or even a bit below what they were before, imagine what they can do when they're not fearing for a pandemic. I don't get it. I don't. I know why. I know why companies want people to come back. There's a multitude of reasons. One, large real estate investments. 2, real estate holdings. Whether your company holds the entire real estate and then they rent out things to businesses as well that support your company and people being in the office. I'm not here to say the office is gone. I'm here to say you work with grown-ass adults that can make the decision for themselves where they work best. And there's a lot of people in management out there I know that have realized how little they do when they're not in the office popping in to everybody's work. Hurts. I have more. Hang on. Greg says, do you find from an HR perspective that culture was or is more of a buzzword than the essence of a company? I've often found a big discrepancy between the letters posted on the wall versus how companies actually support this, in my opinion. Greg, that's a great question. I really think it's a great question because I think culture is exactly that. It's non-existent. Now, I'll explain that. Culture simply is. Culture is like weather. Okay? Today, it's this. Today, it's this. And if you hear about a place with a good culture, it's like if you like the summer. It's going to rain sometimes, it's going to do this. But culture simply exists by the people that are at a location or within a company, and it is dictated based on how accurate those words you have on a wall are compared to the actions that you take, mostly leadership takes. This all comes down to leadership. What leadership does at the company with their subordinates is what culture is. Culture is 100% predicated on those who empower. 100%. Now, you can have a team culture, especially with remote, right? You can have a culture of your team and stuff like that, and there's a cohesion, and that's a good team. But the company, as a whole, you will strive or you will break based on what the leadership does. And that's not a good thing all the time. If leadership doesn't listen to anybody, they won't make changes. And that defines culture to me. Lisa here, I'm going to bring up some more here. Lisa says, I was watching a presentation today where a technology company said they were committing to interview at least one woman per open position. One person asked, why don't we hire the best person? How would you answer? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. So I went to college and got into HR really when employment equity in Canada was happening and affirmative action in the U.S. Same thing with like the Rooney Rule in the NFL and how there's a lawsuit right now actually on it. And this is me coming from just my own brain and my own space. Okay, I am not an expert in this. I am not qualified academically or professionally to break down a lot of these things. But in my opinion, when somebody says, why don't we hire the best instead of having to hire one person like this or this or this, I don't know if anybody wants to be a token interview. I don't know because I'm white and a male and straight. I have the luxury and the privilege to I can give an opinion or a thought on it when it never even affects me. People are like, yeah, well, if you lost a job out to that. I used to do this when I taught and when I was a student at college. It's not about that. You see, for me to get to that point, to get that interview, to get that job, I had to do things and I had personal struggles. I'm using me as just a generic white dude. And I have my own struggles, and I've had to climb the ladder and get to that point, whatever the job is. I don't care if it's your first job or your first leadership position or whatever that is that you're going to struggle and try for. And I've had whatever struggles those are. What I haven't had is direct or indirect hurdles of discrimination. I haven't had systemic things baked in that will not give me the same opportunities as somebody like me has. And when I say systemic, it goes all the way down to like, well, we go by our pool of applicants. Oh, really? Okay, so where are you advertising? Where do you put the job ad at? Because that's what I talk about sometimes with indirect. Well, all of our applicants are only white males. Cool. Where'd you put the ad? Where have you searched? Have you told the recruiter using you would really like a diverse applicant field? Or did you tell them we need to have one because of this, this, and this? I don't. Because the problem with that line too is, why don't we hire the best person instead of at least having one woman per open position interviewed? Ugh. It's painful. It's painful. Kendall, hey Kendall, says culture that leans into a long-term investment in its people is so much more sustainable and high valuable for employee retention than only quarterly outlooks. Companies moving forward to accept we are all human and knows what works best for us to be productive and healthy all around will continue to do well and not merely survive. Thank you. Thank you, Kendall. Here's the thing, though. You see what Kendall just wrote? It's never changed. It's never changed based on demographic. It's never changed based on decade. It's never changed based on the economy. It's never changed based on the weather. We want to feel safe. And I use safe in the most generic term possible, meaning I want to be able to hold down my job if I do what I'm asked to do. That's it. But we got all the other crap that comes into it. Is your culture about fostering and nurturing your employees so they can be the very best to provide the best service and products possible, blah, blah, blah? Then what are you doing to protect them? What are you doing to protect them from people in the company? One toxic employee costs you 8 to 11 good employees. As a stat I read last week on something. But I don't want to quote stats. I hate it. I hate having to justify to saying you need to remove toxic people from your company. Otherwise, you're a toxic company. That's your culture. Because bullying doesn't end in high school. Bullies don't stop in high school, and I know a lot of you know. Bullying doesn't stop in high school. They just end up getting paid and promoted. And then we just have a world of these frickin' alphas who are walking around saying, well, it's just the way it is. It's just business, bro. Do you know the alpha thing that you're hanging your hat on? You know that's a myth, right? You know the academic who came up with that alpha, with the wolf? Let me check out who it is. I think it's David Meck, I think is his name. After that was published, he spent the rest of his career trying to debunk it because the study was just done on wolves in captivity. That there isn't an alpha. That most packs are the two parents are the head and they work as a family. That your ideals are out the door with that. You want to be snapping necks and cashing checks? Yeah. You want to make the next Catalina wine mixer and go? Go ahead. Go ahead. You're not going to win the battle for talent. You're also not going to have a lot of friends left over. Nobody likes a bully. Some people tolerate them. Bullies need audiences, and it's in the workplace. You don't have the right to yell at somebody you work with. You really don't have the right to yell at them if they work for you. These are grown-ass adults. Grown-ass adults. So your culture is simply, how does one feel working there? And your culture is different between every single person that works there. Because culture is in the eye of the individual, the employee. And the most accurate definition of culture is written by the individual that is the lowest on the org chart. Whoever that is. They define culture. I want their Glassdoor review. That's what I want to hear from. And so I was saying about HR and mistakes, you want to fix this, or you want to shift yourself towards being an employer of choice for people. It's so simple. So many simple things. First of all, nobody should go to 5 interviews. Nobody. For a company, for a job. Honestly, you need to get over yourselves. Companies, listen to me. Recruiters, HR people, managers, executives. If you are hiring a position and there is an opening, you put yourself at an incredible disadvantage every single time you add an interview to the process. Yes, I get it. I used to do them. I understand. Everybody wants to figure it out. And they want to be in on it, on the choice. It's a team member. It's this. And Jeff from accounting wants to talk because they'll work closely with that department. And this person here and this person. Stop it. 2 interviews? Maybe. Every interview you add over 1 or 2, you have less and less chance of hiring that person. Because there's another company out there with the same comparable offer, if not better, who doesn't need 5 interviews. I read on yesterday, I think it was yesterday, I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, somebody had 9 interviews. 9. What's wrong with you? Stop it. Just stop. And if the person is currently working somewhere else, think about that. When you're hiring somebody, the final decision is theirs. And I just want to ask you one thing, just one thing, okay? And this will separate the 2 groups of people. This is it. And this is the difference between leadership and unleadership when it comes to what we talk about. Should it be somebody's honor and privilege to work for your company? Or is it your honor and privilege that they chose to work for you? I'll wait. Seriously. That's what it comes down to. I'm asking you. Well, they should be grateful or should they be honored and privileged to work for you? Or should you be honored and privileged that they work for you? Can you feel joy in somebody else's joy with it having nothing to do with you? Simple. It really is. I didn't say, and life's not simple. Business isn't simple necessarily, but this is. Nobody's going to work with you forever. And if you're a leader, especially if you have equity or you own it, nobody's going to be as passionate about it as you. So stop expecting them to be. We put all these hurdles, and it used to be like recruiting was like, it's like the phase, where it's everything's nice and wonderful and pretty, and then you start working there, and then it's like, oh. But now there's this recruiting. It's just, this hiring is just crazy. Do you have 3 working references for me? Sure. Do you have 3 former employee references for me? Including at least one of those that was a direct report to you. Would you mind me asking some questions of how you dealt with situations? Because I want to ask your references some questions. Potential employer. I want to know how you acted when it hit the fan. I want to ask them how many ideas they were given credit for out of your mouth. I want to know, hey, are employees freely allowed to discuss their salary with whomever they choose? Because again, they're an adult. It's the answers I want. It's the answers we all want. Because you think you can do this many interviews, that you can say we're going to do 5 interviews and I want 3 reference checks. You're hiring one of your employees, which could be dozens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of employees at a company. This is my one job. I probably should get some of those checks as well. Reference checks. Would you mind if I did a background check on you? Is that all right? Because do I want to work with somebody with a criminal record? By the way, I got no problem with that myself. I guess depending on the charge, but I just need you to stop momentarily. And if you're in any leadership at a company, with any power over processes, systems, decisions, I want you to step back and say, what happens if I was on the other side? Because you just may be one of these days. Because we all are, one way or the other. Unless you've started a company, did it the whole time, and then retired. We've all gotten to be on the other side. You know. Hello, tenured Professor Murray. Thank you for the giver. You know what I've been watching lately? To go totally off topic here. I've been watching Twitch a lot. I think I'm streaming on Twitch now. I don't even know. I think I am. But I'm watching some streamers. I've been enjoying it, watching how they build their community. And it's been great. I'll get back to that in a second. Here's Lisa says, can you give me a 10-minute presentation report and essay on why I should work for you? Exactly. Thank you. It's like the marketing ones too. Hey, come up with a campaign for us for your interview. Oh yeah? Oh, okay. Greg, great perspective from the potential employee. Thank you for sharing those. The employer references should be a given. William says, I don't have employees, but I have students, so lots of people choose me. That's my first class always is interview me. Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly. And I think this especially can spill over to academic. I remember my first year teaching, William, at Sheridan, and I was teaching HR 1. And so I'm not sure if you have the same, but in our business program in the foundational year, first year, you had all just a general selection of courses: marketing, finance, accounting, HR, and some general kind of electives. And then in November, you picked your major. And then the second semester, you'd then have your major as something 2. So you'd have HR 2 or marketing 2 or whatever. So I taught 5 classes of HR 1 a week. Right over there. Just down the street at Sheridan. And I taught a bit differently, as you can imagine. I never went the full 3 hours. I wanted us to have conversations. I wanted to talk about this stuff because one of the advantages of HR 1 is it's, because of learning principles, just human learning principles, it's like a relevance, frame of reference, all these type of stuff that's in there. I got to talk about, are they screwing you over at your current part-time job? That's what the angle I took for HR. And so it was immediately resonated with them. And so it was so much fun and so much everything else. And and then HR 2 came along my first year, and they had a record intake of HR 2 that year. And they all had different teachers. And then they had a record dropout of HR because I wasn't their teacher. Now, I'm not complimenting me here, by the way. What I'm bringing up is one of the biggest problems with first year academic. A lot of times when you have to make a choice within a few months and you have one prof to base your subject off. They thought HR was like me. They thought that's the way it is. And since I made the stuff, I was passionate about it. That got them jacked up about it. And their experience in semester 2 I was not the best HR teacher there by far. I was just the most ridiculous. And me. And so I learned that in my second year. I had my first class talking to them was all about how you should make your choice for a major. And the first reason was not because of the prof. And that really helped the class. Anne is here. All right. Anne's got, I was once asked very recently to put together an entire year-long marketing strategy as part of a job interview. I told them, sure, I expect this will take 40 hours. So at $300 an hour, that would be, yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's like doing spec work for an agency, except even worse, you know. You were the most ridiculously awesome. Thank you. I love teaching. I love teaching at Sheridan. I love the college. I love community college, period. I'm sitting here doing what I do because of it. And I loved it. I loved teaching. I loved it. It was just one of my favorite things to do. I just, once this came out and went kind of bananas, you know, it was, I was doing conferences and stuff. I just couldn't teach anymore. And I love it. Still love it. Never taught marketing there. It's the funniest part to me. I never taught marketing or sales or anything. It was HR, because that's what I went to school for. It's funny. It's just like they had no idea like these books were coming out and they never even put us out there. It was too much fun. Too much fun. So yeah, if I'm in a company at this point too, I'm looking at all of our policies. I'm looking at our procedures. I'm looking at things that, how does this work and how is this affecting our workforce? You feel this shift. So there's some stuff that never changes. And then there's newer things now too. It's not just customers want to know where you stand on certain things. It's even more so your employees. You know, you see a lot of the brands reacting to what's happening in the Ukraine. That's stuff that wasn't talked about 5 years ago, 10 years ago, especially not 20 years ago. You know, it was totally not talked about at all. And a huge part of that shift is social media. Huge part of that is having public forum to be able to tag and call a brand out. I love that power. I've always loved it. It's one of the main reasons, the two reasons I've loved social media forever, as somebody who's grown up on social media, is that it gives us some control and a voice versus just the classical microphones and megaphones that are out there. And the relationships. So we can hold companies accountable. We can hold people accountable. And you can build community. And those are the two things I love about it. That's really why it was everything for me. All right. William says, teaching is the best. Wait, you're giving me a room and eager minds, no adults. Cool. It was, yeah, agreed. Michael McGrath, what you listening to? Well, what I was listening to when we came on, it's called Sweet Pea. This is a little mix of one of our youngins in the family, Aiden. But overall, I'm listening to a bunch of stuff. I'll give you that in 1 second. Aiden currently works here at Dynalone Records in Toronto. Finished his program. Did an internship, got a job, got offered full-time, and now he's working at the record label he always wanted to work at. And it's so freaking cool because I love the music business and I love music. So, Michael, yeah, so one of the nice things right now, and one of the coolest things is, you know, the ages of our kids. And Aiden's 24, Owen's 20, we got like 20, 19. So, you know, we're swapping music back and forth now. So like what happens at night or something. So like Owen's on his way back from university today. He's going to come hang out. And so he's just started getting into Pearl Jam. And I get to introduce him to it. So he was also huge I showed him Hall & Oates last week. And he's been loving it, Out of Touch and stuff. And just, and now last night I got hooked into Pearl Jam. And it's just like when your mind, it's not from like music from when I was born and newer. When they start going back more, it's the coolest thing in the world. I'm a huge music fan. Music's a huge part of my brain and my DNA. And to have that is so great. So what I've been listening to lately, there's a couple songs that I just have on repeat. And they go under different kind of levels. I listen to a lot of kind of calm music, depending on what's happening. So if I'm playing like poker, online poker or something here, I've been loving Freya Riding's Lost Without You is such a beautiful, beautiful song. Leela James. I've been such a good voice. Emily Sandé and that song Clown makes my heart stop. It's just such a beautiful song. And then on the other side of that, going over somewhere, other places, I'm still rocking my heavy ones. Got even more into Shinedown than I had before. Just found a band called Skindred. Oh my God. It reminds me of Ragadeth from the 90s. And it's just this, you just got to look it up. Rat Race by Skindred. Just check it out. It's really, really good. All right. Dieter. Hey, Scott. Thank you for going live. I'm following your work since the Titan Summit. Robin Sharma's event. Awesome. I'm writing a book, and so I'm quite interested in getting pieces together and getting it published. Is there anything you can share? Sorry for moving that. Is there anything you can share on writing, getting the pieces together, and get it published in market? And thanks. Have your own Allison. So for those watching, I don't know, obviously, down here, Allison is among the 3,455 other things she is incredible at. She's an incredible writer, and I'm like this. I just kind of freak out and blah, and I'm just, I'm the reactor and the person that's usually on stage. Allison's the writer, and before she came along, I did start breaking down the book. I can pull up the graphic here for you if you want. Give me 1 second here. Also, Dieter, if you look on LinkedIn, if you go back a little bit, or by the way, message me on LinkedIn right now while we're doing this, so I'll remember to reply, because it's saved on YouTube as well. I did a whole hour as well about the book industry, and then Allison and I did almost an hour together on live as well, talking about the writing and everything. So I will send you those links if you think that'll be helpful. I'll send them over. Here is the outline, the original outline of UnMarketing. This is what I did with a mind map. I don't know why I did the dark blue. That was just dumb. Can't read it. But this is how I broke it down, was like the tools, a way to do it, and then the theories that I had. And then I just broke it down. And the whole thing with this was about, having a point, then prove it, and point and prove it, point and prove it. And, and that's kind of how we came up with it. So this is the first thing I really made for the book. And a lot of those things made it in, and some of the stuff didn't. And it's amazing. So it really started up. It was really helpful. So I think, but from seeing Allison do what she does and me attempting to try to do what I did, don't try to write a book. Just write 1,000 words, 1,000 words, 1,000 words, or whatever one you want to go, and just kind of write and get it out, if that helps you. A lot of people love using Scribed as a tool as well, which is great. MK says, holy crap, Hall & Oates fan here. First saw them at Kingswood. Kingswood? I'm assuming you're talking about Kingswood Music Theatre in Canada's Wonderland before it became Paramount's Canada's Wonderland, before it came whatever it is now. I love me some Kingswood. In the round. Private eyes watching you. Exactly, right? You just got to get the right time to introduce it to your kids. Some of them are older, sometimes they're 3. But if you miss them, if they're after 3 or 4, they start requesting songs. But if you can get it in early, you're good. But it doesn't always work that way, because I played Owen when he was a baby and driving in the car. I play a lot of Moby, Nora Jones, and Macy Gray. And not any of those are in the rotation right now. And also 3 phenomenal artists. And it was so good to see Macy. So good to see Macy at the Super Bowl. I think she was Super Bowl. So great. Lisa says, first concert was Hall & Oates. Awesome. My first one was Corey Hart at the CNE at the exhibition. Yes, right. That's right. With Mishy Me. That's right. Such a good. To death, rag of death, once, and so, oh, when I heard that, I didn't realize it was possible. Did not realize it was possible. Kingswood Music Theater, I worked at Canada's Wonderland for 3 seasons. Shut the front door. If you're watching and you're not from the area, Canada's Wonderland is like our Six Flags. I don't know if Six Flags might own it right now or something anyways. But yeah, it's an amusement park. Permanent amusement park as opposed to a fair or the exhibition. Big mountain, in the middle, and yeah, dude, I loved that. Like anybody, right? You loved Wonderland. I loved Wonderland before Vaughan existed. It's the Vaughan we know now. Before the Mills, before Vaughan Mills was there and everything else, I was all about Dragonfire. It's all about the double looping. Skyrider came, first stand-up roller coaster. Bat comes, first backwards roller coaster. 1 year I was the first person on the Bat that season. I still hold that close to my heart. So good. What about Greta Van Fleet? Is it Fleet or Vliet? I don't know. I think they're cool. I dig them. Reincarnation of Zeppelin, man. I'll take that. I was never a huge Zeppelin fan, but I appreciate and respect their music, and I'll listen to a couple of those any day. But yeah, killer. What I look for in music, obviously is you first look for is the song itself. And, I love, my brain's about hooks and business and everything else. And I love a good music hook. I love a good solid song. And I really love a good front person, whoever the lead singer is. They're a unique breed, including myself. I was lead singer in high school of a few bands. I wasn't good, but but I had no shame. Look out for a lead singer that has no shame, or anybody who's on stage that has no shame. I just fired the band and I stayed on stage. And it says my first concert was Def Leppard in '97. I moshed so hard. You moshed to Leppard? I saw Leppard, which is amazing, by the way. I'm just trying to think of how. I'm a getting yes, I'm a get it. Come on, Steve, get it. I don't know where the mosh is. Pour Some Sugar on Me is too slow to mosh to. Like great song, but it's like can't do it. Rocket maybe. That sounds too much like Way Cool Jr. by Rat. Anyway, but yes, I saw them for the first time. Get this, first time in concert. I think it was 2017. So like 20 years after you saw the man. For the first time, I saw him in Arizona. I had a gig there. It just never made it work. And my best friend Dave, huge Def Leppard fan, so I flew him down to come to the concert because it was there, and we saw Def Leppard, Tesla, and REO Speedwagon. And I had my hair back, like I used to have it when I was a teenager. I'm like, yes. By the way, I want to ask everybody watching right now as I continue this story of Def Leppard, REO Speedwagon, and Tesla. I just want you in the comments, if you could, two things. I want you to comment on if you're watching right now. Two things. What do you feel about people who stand up in concerts? At the near the front, in the seats, not general admission. I want your opinion on it before I give mine. Also, what is your opinion on people filming with their phone during a concert? I'll let you give some comments, and then I'll give you my answer, and I don't want to bias it at all. Back to this. I love the show. I freaking love Tesla. Back in the day. Whew. No way in, no way out of this. What a great, and then obviously they're even bigger hits. Love song, and so good. So I was most impressed by REO Speedwagon. I couldn't name 3 REO Speedwagon songs unless you play them like, oh yeah, that one. I didn't. They were the third band at that thing. I did not care. I actually tried to find the time of when they would be on versus Tesla versus Def Leppard. They blew me away. This is like 5 years ago. Killer. Props to REO Speedwagon. Props to you. All right. So let's go through here. Lisa said, I worked a Def Leppard concert, almost fell asleep on the catwalk during the... Oh, no. Recommend Broken Record Pockets for great music interviews. Rick Rubin's podcast. Yes, and yes. Love me some Rubin. And Tesla's incredible live. Seconded. Love it. Love everything about Tesla. Greg says, yes, stand up all the way, all the time, but put phones away. And says, stand. Anthony says, both should be punished by the death penalty. Julie says, standing 100%, give some energy to the band. Stop using your phone and be present. Tesla acoustic, love it. Oh, one of the best, right? That Tesla, is that Intimate and Interactive? Was it an MTV? I think it was an MTV one. Was it right? So good. Anne says, don't record. You missed the actual experience. LinkedIn user, I'm sorry, your name hasn't come through on this, but hi anyways. Stand but no phone. Lisa says, stand for rock. Sit if old people in the audience. Record only special moments. I like that answer too. Michael says, stand, why not? Unless it's like a Philharmonic orchestra or something. Why not get up on your feet and move? It's like somebody throws down Bach or something like that, and you're just like... Well, if it's Sebastian Bach, yes. Yeah, I would do that. Seriously, Skid Row, why haven't you gone back out and tour? Make it happen. Make it happen. MK says, I'm a short person, so people standing annoy me. On the other hand, I love dancing, so I usually try to move in the aisle or back if I'm dancing. As for filming, I used to hate it until I finally got to see Aha at Massey. You did not see Aha at Massey. Oh, my goodness. Waited 25 years to see them and relive the experience through people's vids for weeks afterwards. Yeah, that's the challenge, right? And by the way, oh, man, how good. Please tell me that was just an incredible show. I have one of my most played songs in the past year, maybe 2 years, on as I would just listen to music, playing poker, driving, whatever it is their acoustic version of Take On Me. That's in the Deadpool 2 soundtrack, which led me to like the Aha Unplugged whole show. And the weird thing about Aha over here in North America is a lot of people view them as like a one-hit wonder or two. With it, because I think they had two in the top 100. Obviously, Take On Me was not only an incredible song, but one of the best videos of all time, still till today. But they've not stopped. They've had more hits, way more hits in Europe as well. So props to them. What else do we have? Giora says, I stand all the time, but I'm short, so no big difference. Phones are what it is. That's a great answer too. Ann says, I could mosh at the Philharmonic. Well, yeah, if you're mosh during Leopard, you could mosh during, the Mozart. 5-man acoustical jam. Okay, that might have been it. Yeah, thank you. That album, the album too, phenomenal. Thank you for reminding me of that one. Saw Michael Nesmith and Mickey Dolenz about 2 months before Mike died, recorded them singing my favorite tune together. See, that, yeah, totally makes sense. Filming, come on, dude. You're not going to be watching that video next week, and none of your friends want to see it either. Yeah. And Greg said, get up. Everybody's going to move their feet, get down. Everybody's going to leave their seat. Yeah, so I'm going to just put text on here so everybody knows what we're talking about as they come in. All right, so we're gonna bring this up here just so everybody knows we're talking about this as I go off this. All right, so a couple of things with that. So it's funny because I'm 5'11", and Allison is not. And so, we went to Dave Matthews' concert at Budweiser Stage, formerly the Molson Amphitheater in Toronto years ago. And, Dave is chill. Dave is like my generation version of Fish almost, but not really. Got some really solid songs and some of the best musicians playing in his band. It's just incredible. Incredible. And sitting in front of us was a dude, I swear to God, he was 6'7", 6'8", one of the biggest humans I've seen, right in front of Allison. Didn't matter if we switched seats. He was huge. And so we watched a lot of the show sitting down, looking up at one of the screens. Because one of the reasons I like to go to concerts in the first row, not first row stage, but first row section, whether it's the 200s, 300s, whatever, I like to be on the rail because I like to sit when I want to. That's it. The problem is there's also responsibility of that with people behind you. I remember dancing in the lawns at Molson Amphitheater. Van Halen and Our Lady Peace was playing, and Our Lady Peace was opening, and I'm a huge fan of Our Lady Peace, and I was dancing and singing. People were screaming at me to sit down, not because they wanted to see the band necessarily, because they didn't care for the opener. So people are going to be people. At the Def Leppard concert in Arizona, we were sitting. We did first row, 300 section, because also I'm just getting older, and I just like to enjoy the stuff. I'll get up when I want to and all that stuff. Sure, I get it. You know, when GNR played in Vegas at the T-Mobile Arena, I was up, but I also sat down for Patience. November Rain, it's like 7 minutes. November Rain's like 7 minutes. There's an entire piano solo in the thing, I believe, and a strings section. You got to sit. Axel sat. I can sit. But a couple was screaming at two people in front of us, beside us, a couple down, because they were also first row 300 section, because they were standing enjoying the concert. And the people behind them said they can't see the concert, sit the F down. And they started screaming at each other. Your seats, you can stand or you can sit. But also have tact, right? People bring signs, you immediately block the person behind you. At least put something interesting on the other side, like, I'm sorry I'm holding this, I'll bring it back down in 5 seconds. Whatever. A concert is an experience. And the second it is not is when your experience of it overrides somebody else's experience of it. Now, there's a line. Like, I was totally cool with the people who stood up at the Def Leppard show. And if we handle it differently, a lot of things can work out. Have I filmed in concerts? Yeah, I filmed a couple of songs. I saw Justin Timberlake on the Mirror Sex Love Sound tour, and he was about to do Sexy Back, and I filmed it. And then Timberland came out of the ground and did his part in the song, and I've watched it 6 times. I'm not proud that I filmed it on my potato of a camera I had at the time, but, and I know. The reason why I would film little bits and pieces of a concert would be to send them to my brother or something who got me into music, or somebody else who I thought that would be cool. But when I film, you got to hold it down here. If you're going to film, you need to film it here. As soon as you go here, not only is it blocking somebody's view, but it's bright and it's shiny and it's distraction. I know I'm 46, soon to be 47. But I do agree that enjoy the concert, but also you paid for the ticket. You want to film the whole thing, whatever. I'm just, back in the day, they would confiscate stuff at shows. Now everybody's got a phone. You really can't. But just don't let your filming take away. Look, you want to film it? Go ahead. Down here. Keep it low so it's not blocking people behind you and distracting them as well. I just think that's the kind thing to do. All right. Whew. Let's keep on going. MK, incredible. I love how they never stop trying new things. And yes, the show was fantastic. Met Morton Harkett after the show in the alley. Took a pic with him, and the best pic of me ever. No, so cool. So cool. And those are epic alleys all around Massey, too. I love it. Have you seen the Massey renovations now? Oh, my goodness. All right. So, Anthony said, I just got into listening cover versions and have discovered some covers are better than the original. There are several outstanding covers of Take On Me. Yes, I agree. I don't know if I can get a better version of Take On Me than their acoustic of it. No. But yes, I agree. I loved, Anthony, have you heard, it got fairly popular, so you may have. Have you heard the cover of Zombies, the Cranberries' Zombies by Wolf. I'm going to get it. Ready? My brain just fired, and I don't want to miss it because I want to give them credit. Bad Wolves. There it is. Incredible cover. Heavy cover. It gets heavier, but oof. And then, of course, Sound of Silence by Disturbed. I have a whole kind of cover Spotify thing I have a list of, too. That's great. I had seats 5 rows back to see Peter Gabriel and had a very tall guy in front of me, and it was very hard to see. Sucked. Yeah, it's a problem. I get it. It's a problem. But Peter Gabriel, well done. You've been to some great concerts. And damn it, I have to go to a meeting, and I'm extremely bummed to be leaving this convo. You're all the best. Keep on moshing. Everybody go check out Ann. Ann's doing some incredible stuff going on. Got a great new company out there. Love it. All I do is cover. I love the idea of taking great songs and making it yours. Agreed. Axel certainly didn't appreciate fans filming back in the day. Axel didn't appreciate many things back in the day. I remember it was Metallica GNR, and had tickets, went to Sunrise Records, Ticketmaster. We lined up and we got tickets, and then the concert was postponed, potentially canceled, because James Hetfield, the lead singer and rhythm guitar of Metallica, got pyrotechnics went awry in Montreal and burned his arm and couldn't play, and then we didn't know. And finally we went, and I got to see Hetfield, but he's only singing because his arm's still burnt, and they had a filling guitarist. And then Axl just took a sweet-ass time coming on stage. And then we were going to miss the final train, 11:43 train or 11:50, I guess, from Exhibition coming to Oakville, my town. And Axl says from the stage, "We have to let you all know the final train is leaving the station, but we all know you're sticking around anyways." And I'm like, I can't. And I left the thing, and walking to the train, all I could hear in the background was Paradise City. And I held that grudge against Axl for a very long time. I love them. Still do. I had a VHS bootleg of their GNR at I believe it was Ritz or Viper Room or something. I think not only do I know every song, but I think I know everything they said to each other between songs. There was a little club show, Steve Nadler, the drums, the original lineup, and oof. I remember we went to Mighty Mighty Boss Tones in Toronto, and my buddy Jeff snuck in like a disposable camera and took pictures of the whole show. And at the very end, the bouncer spotted it and took it from him. I'm like, oh, it would have been so cool. Back then, it was so rare to get concert photos. Yeah. Oh, you just finished reading the book on Massey. Oh, cool. I should pick that one up. It'd be great. Real Big Fish do a fun cover take on me. Is there anything Real Big Fish does that's not fun? They're awesome. They're very awesome. Susan. Hi, Susan. Well, this is the highlighted of my feed today. Fave cover is If I Needed You by Mumford & Sons. Oh, now I'm going to have to look at that one. Oh, no. You had to do the Bowie. Had to catch the last go bus home and heard because they save those songs for like the end and the encore, and yeah. I made it up. I got to make it up though, because I got to go to them playing on at the T-Mobile Arena. Like the first concert they held there when the arena was built was Guns N' Roses with Alice in Chains opening for them, and that made everything better. It was wonderful. Axl was sitting on Dave Grohl's throne because he busted his leg, so it's even better. Mary says, "Hi, Mary. What are your thoughts on artists who require you to put your phone in a yonder pouch?" Yeah. Look, it's their show. So if I love an artist, a musician, a comedian, a speaker, a poet, whatever, the Philharmonic, it's a performance. And as a performer, just in what I do in speaking, it's different. There are certain things that allow me to do my job the best, and there are things that can take away from that. And part of a lot of good performers is that they take their audience's experience very seriously. Very seriously. That's their moment. That is their everything. Because to me, about performance, to me, is the audience experience. So they can enjoy everything they want about the performance. And if I, as an artist, think that humanity will not be respectful of each other and keep their phones away, then I fully support that. If you don't, then you don't fully support the artist. And that's okay. I'm not being sarcastic. That's okay. You just watch them on YouTube or wherever they stream or have their stuff. But yeah, of course. I just call people out in the audience if they're on the phone for one of my talks, but that's just my personality. I stopped ushering because it got too difficult to stop people from filming. Most people did not want their stuff filmed. Yeah, exactly. The last time I saw it done really well was Bob Dylan. We saw Dylan in New York, and it was ridiculous. And they were on top of it. Yeah, nobody had their things out. Anthony says, Money Money Boss tones were amazing, but I heard they broke up because of political ideology. Lead singer was a Trumper and anti-vax mask. Well, that would do it. Political ideology has ended a lot of things with people and relationships and, being together and stuff. So, yeah. It can happen. It can hurt and ruin many, many, many things. Still, great music. Great music. All right. That's an hour. Okay. That's good for today. That was a good topic. I like talking about that. I do like that world. So thank you all for hanging out. Whoever hung out today. Really appreciate you all. Thank you, everybody who's still here as well. Anthony, MK, Mary, Dieter, Susan, Michael, and everybody else. And I know you're gone already. Lisa and Greg and Giora. Who else I did not get in here? Julie as well. I just want to make sure I thank everybody for commenting. It's always a nice thing to do. I'm just looking through all the names if I didn't forget somebody. And William. Appreciate you all. I'll see you next time I'm on. I'm thinking about doing a kind of a webinar on leadership just for everybody in general. If we can do it. So stay tuned to that. As always, have a wonderful day. Be kind to each other. We'll talk to you next time.